I'm sure you all must have heard by now that the UK government is planning to increase the number of years for ILR from 5 years to 10 years. Currently, if you're on a skilled worker visa, you're qualified to apply for ILR after 5 years in the UK. But now the government plans to increase it to 10 years. So if you are in the UK, you have to stay working, renew your visa, paying IHS fees and doing all of that for 10 whole years before you'll be qualified to apply for your indefinite leave to remain. And all the other unfavorable plans that the UK government has for migrants. So let's quickly go into the details of how this is going to affect so many migrants and their families and how this is a trap. My name is Tochi. Welcome to my channel. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up as you're watching so YouTube can recommend it to more people. Kindly share it to everyone that needs to hear this because it's a very important topic. To all my returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. You're welcome back to today's video. If you're yet to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button right now. Thank you. Now, the UK government has published the official immigration white paper, and of course in it was outlined all the strict laws and measures the government is going to put in place to cut down migration. This includes extending the number of years for ILR from 5 years to 10 years, stopping care worker visa, reducing the number of years for post-study work visa to 18 months, and, so many other measures the government plans to put in place to cut down migration. And while we're still trying to deal with all of that, there's this article that was published by BBC and even Guardian that this law or this strict rule of 10 years ILR might affect millions of people in the UK already, as much as it's also going to affect those planning to move to the UK. Yes, we understand the need to cut down migration and all of that. However, if this is not considered properly, it's going to affect a lot of people in the UK, especially if there's an iota of truth in the article that was published by the Guardian and BBC. So firstly, there has to be an overhaul of the UK skilled worker visa system to accommodate the 10 years rules. I don't know how they're going to do it because you have to keep renewing your visa, you have to stay on that job, and all the restrictions that comes with a skilled worker visa. So you have to be tied to that particular job for 10 whole years before you are eligible to apply for your indefinite leave to remain. For people that have come to the UK with the promise that they're going to get ILR after 5 years, if this is going to affect people like that, then there's going to be a big problem because this is quite unfair. It's basically like a breach of contract because you've promised somebody 5 years. As a matter of fact, that person might already even be on the route to settlement after 5 years, and all of a sudden you just come and tell the person, sorry, it's no longer 5 years, you have to now wait for an extra 5 years again, something like that. So it's quite crazy, so it seems like a lot of people are crying out, and I think there's also a petition that you can sign as well to make sure that this doesn't happen. Now look at the amount of money that migrants pay on a visa. It is not small money. You'd have to pay your visa fees, you have to pay to renew, and then you have to pay IHS fees for 10 years. Currently, IHS fees is £1,035 per year. So you have to pay for 10 years. That's more than £10,000. And if you're paying for your family members, your dependents as well, imagine how much everybody is going to pay just on IHS fees alone. We're not even talking about your visa fees, your visa renewal fees and all of that, right? So where is that money? Remember, you're only tied to your job, to your employer, because you're on a skilled worker visa. You can, take up extra jobs to make extra income. Remember the cost of living crisis and everything. So you have to basically find a way to survive on just your salary from your employer. And then you still have to, from that salary you are managing, because the government has tied you down to that salary, to that employer and to that job for 10 years, you have to still manage to pay all these bills, meet up with all these financial responsibilities that you have or that you owe to the government, IHS, a visa renewal, everything for yourself and your dependents for 10 whole years. The mental stress, how it's going to stress a lot of people financially, mentally, physically. is going to be draining. You are just imagine it, because some people haven't really sat down to think about the negative effects that all of this is going to have on so many migrants and families in the UK. Like, there's a promise that's been made to you, and now they're just going back on it. You're coming to the UK with the hope that you're going to get ILR after 5 years, no matter what happens. And now, somehow, the government wants to change it, that you have to wait for a longer period. Also, remember, there's an existing long years residence route already, right? That's 10 years. People that have been in the UK legally for 10 years, those people are eligible to apply for ILR. So if they also extend the skilled worker visa one to 10 years, will they consider people that have come to the UK on a study visa and probably moved to a post-study work visa, and then before they now got a skilled worker visa? Will those years that person have spent on those other visas count when that person has stayed up to 10 years, or will they remove those ones and ask the person to stay for 10 years on a skilled worker visa? You know, what's really the plan? So these are some of the things that the government really needs to look into before this becomes effective, or before they say that it's going to affect those in the UK already. Remember, this is not yet law. There is no effective date. It does not come into effect yet. But assuming it becomes law, right? It takes effect and it's going to be affecting those that are already in the UK. What's going to happen to a lot of migrant families? Okay, for children born in the UK, this is going to affect them too. Really, right? If a child is born here, for instance, so you have to put them on your visa, you have to pay IHS fees for them, they have to be here for, 10 whole years, or it depends on when you had them and when you're going to get your ILR, the number of years left for you. If you're just even starting and you just give birth to that child, so that child has to do all of that for 10 whole years before you can now probably apply for them when you have your settled status. How about children that turn 17, they want to go into the university and go into college and do all of that? How are they going to pay for their school fees? Are they going to pay as home students? Are they going to pay as international students? So it's really, there's just going to be a lot around all of this, because it's really going to affect or impact a lot of migrant families. Are we talking about the restrictions on the visas? How nothing is certain because you're on a visa. You don't even know what you're going to do to offend somebody, what you're going to do. Like, you're just walking on eggshells, literally. So we're going to keep doing all of that for 10 whole years. The truth is, a lot of migrants spend so much money to move abroad, right? So planning to move to the UK takes a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of planning, mentally, physically, emotionally. It takes a lot to actually move to another country. And for most people, they've given so much to be here. They've already given so much of their time, their expertise, everything, their money, everything to be here. So many migrants at this point can't afford to go back home, but at the same time, they are stuck. You're not settled. You don't even know what your fate is going to be, because tomorrow the government can come out and bring out another law that is unfavorable to you. The government can come up and change the rules. It feels like the UK government changes their laws every now and then. It's even more frequent now, So it just keeps changing. The government can come up tomorrow and make a new law that would affect you. You don't even know what to expect. So at this point, you just feel stuck. It feels like it's a trap. Where do we go from here? The restrictions, the stress. You know that there are so many restrictions on a skilled worker visa. A lot of people, everybody on a visa knows that. There's so many restrictions. You're not entitled to public funds. It's even written boldly on your visa, no recourse to public funds. So for 10 whole years, nothing, right? No recourse to public funds. You can't do an extra job. You can only work for 20 hours in a similar role, in the role that you do, or in something similar. You can't do anything else. No side hustle, nothing for you. So it's a lot. Financially, you are stressed, you are drained. making an extra income is not even an option for you except you have a dependent. Mental toll. You do everything you have to do. You work so hard, pay your taxes, contribute to the economy, but yet it feels like you're unwanted. It just feels like the government blames the migrants for literally everything that's going on or that's not going on well in the country. It just feels like it's a lot to take in. There's no peace. It's so stressful with the way the media is putting it, the way the government is just talking about migrant this, migrant that. It's a lot. And sometimes you just wonder, like, what was the offense? What is the problem? What's going on? What do we do? And the truth is, leaving the country is not really easy as well. You to leave where you're trying to build your life and move to another country is still not easy. You have to try and get a work visa of that country. And we all know that work visas are not easy to come by. There's no country that is easy to get a work visa and just move tomorrow. You have to still try and apply, take the exams, do all of that, which takes a while, okay? You have to also bear that at the back of your mind that sometimes just packing your bag and leaving is also not an option because it takes time. It also requires money and time and planning from you, right? So this is the country that a lot of us call home. A lot of people are trying to settle in, have given a lot, but it still feels like something is missing. It still feels like, oh, we're not even assured of tomorrow because the government can just come up and put up one law that will affect everybody. I want to hear what you guys think about all of this in the comment section. I just feel like this whole thing is a trap. Like, the government just wants you. They want your expertise. They understand that you're contributing to the economy. They understand the work and everything that we do. They don't just give us enough credit and they still put the blame on us. So if we have to wait for 10 years, spend all that money for 10 whole years, it's not even going to end there, because when it's time to apply for your indefinite leave to remain, you still have to spend money. Of course, you have to apply for your indefinite leave to remain and then subsequently your citizenship. And then for citizenship application as well, what's the time frame? Is it still going to be 12 months or, what's the qualifying period? How long do you have to wait for to get your British citizenship after you've gotten your ILR? That wasn't also covered. So you also have to pay for your ILR after the 10 years that when you get qualified, and then for your citizenship as well. And we all know how often the government increase fees. So the fees today is likely not going to be the fees in 10 years time or in 5 years time or in 7 years time when you're due to apply for your ILR. It's going to increase. You're still going to spend so much money as well for yourself and dependent applying for ILR when the time is due, and then for your citizenship, both for yourself, for children you came into the UK with, for children born in the UK, and everything, right? And then remember that for children in universities as well, if they're going to be paying as international students because you don't have ILR yet, they're going to be paying more money. So a lot of migrants are going to be dealing with paying school fees, at the same time trying to raise money to renew visas, at the same time trying to raise money to pay for ILR, citizenship, do other things, still feed, pay bills, the unending bills we have in the UK, coupled with the rising cost of living every day and all of that. So it's really not going to be easy on a lot of migrants' families, and that is why we just pray and hope that the government will really consider all of these things. They should just be fair with migrants already in the UK. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I want to hear what you guys think about all of this. If you also have other points on how this is going to affect migrant families in the UK, please keep it in the comment section so we can continue this conversation there. Thank you everyone for watching. Whatever comes up, I'll definitely let you guys know in the coming weeks. The government have said, okay, as time goes on, they're going to bring more clarity to us and explain further what they mean and what, this whole rule, who is going to affect and who is not going to affect. So yeah, That is it for today's video. Disclaimer, this is not an immigration advice. This does not replace an expert opinion. This is strictly for information purposes and me just sharing my thoughts about the white paper and all of that. Okay, if you need an expert opinion or advice, do well to get one. This does not replace it. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.